We're going to talk about why webinars are still a moneymaker in 2023. So webinars, people might think it's outdated. It's when you get people to come, maybe 50 people or 100 people to register, and they'll come watch you talk about a subject, or maybe you do a partner webinar with somebody. And that's an outdated tactic, doesn't work as well. And we're here to tell you, we've got some data around how webinars still crush it in 2023, even after we've come through the pandemic.
Yeah, I know only from my own business, and I know from clients as well, but those are actually the only two. And we have quite a bit of clients that actually still do webinars. But when I look at my own business, NP Digital, we're ad agency, we do 2 webinars a month. Webinars drive some of our best leads, but they had to be super specific. So for example, Eric, we just did a webinar on paid ads and how AI is affecting paid ads. One of our lowest attended webinars, one of the best lead quality leads that we ever got. Not just in quality, but sheer numbers. Now, when I share numbers, I'm talking about qualified leads. When we do a webinar on SEO hacks for 2023 and beyond, we'll get more leads than anything, but the lead quality isn't the same. So we disqualify most of them because they don't have the budgets. But when we do something very specific, like something on Google Analytics 4 and a cookieless world, or when we do stuff on AI and paid advertising and how to adapt with all the changes that are happening, we end up getting the most qualified leads and quantity of those leads when we get very specific and we focus on enterprise-based topics.
So what I would say here is that, so we do 2 a month as well. And let me ask you this, are these 2 internal for you, Neil, or are you also including your partner webinars as well?
We do 2 a month total. So we don't do too many partner ones. We mainly just do them with ourselves. We tried doing a lot of partner webinars. We found that they don't work too well.
Yeah, I think there's 2 perspectives here to look at, right? So Neil, your email list is what, 1 million people now?
Something like that, 1.4.
Okay, and how many people would actually register for your webinars?
Thousands and thousands.
Okay, so you probably have a couple hundred people at least show up.
I think almost every webinar has at least over 1,000 or 2,000.
Okay, there you go. So it's a lot of people, right? So Neil's got the list there. So our list is not 1 million, right? Our list is more like 30,000 or so. And so what we do is we do hit our list, but we also do partner webinars too. And so some lists might have 100,000 people, 150,000 people. We did the last one that we did, we partnered up with a ClearScope, and I think there was like, I think at 150, 200 people or so that showed up, which is pretty decent. But point is, we got leads from that one. I think we got 3 or 4, which is a good conversion rate on that. And I don't know what your conversion rate looks like yours on 1,000 people or so. Do you know?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to assume it's like roughly the same thing. So on 1,000 people or so, maybe he gets 20. That's what I have to assume, but we'll see.
20 leads or 20 customers?
Leads. Like people filling out a form and saying, hey, I want your help.
To register for a webinar, we're collecting all that data as well.
Oh, I know your sales team is hitting them up. That's the other thing. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Our sales team hits them up after the webinar and say, hey, it's the same outreach that I used from the conference.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We do outreach for all the people after the webinar. We look for the people who raise their hand during the webinar, and we ask people during the webinar to also fill out lead forms as well. And the reason we do that is we know if people fill them out multiple times, they're much more likely to be a customer for us.
And who's managing all the follow-up afterwards? Your sales team?
Assuming it's a mixture between marketing and sales.
Okay, got it.
Marketing creates the automation sequences. Sales actually does the conversations.
Got it. So marketing sets the ball, sales spikes it. So our point here is this, right? Like in B2B, it works. Even if you're selling courses, it works. In a lot of cases, it works, but it also depends on your audience. It depends on what you're selling to. If you're selling a consumer product, a webinar might not make sense. You might just get the point across in a 60-second TikTok video. So you just have to understand your audience. But for us, what we're seeing over and over is that this is still working. Even if you don't have an audience right now, you can still drive traffic to one. And I've seen that work well for people that don't have a list or don't have an audience to begin with. So take it for what it is, because at the end of the day, with a webinar, if you're going for 60 minutes plus, you're actually building a relationship. Just like those of you that have listened to this podcast a long time, you feel like you might know Neil and I, because some people have listened to, I've seen them say they listened to all 2,500 plus episodes, which is crazy to me.
That's crazy. And do you do Q&A at the end of your webinars?
We do.
Yeah, we do as well. We find it builds great relationships with potential customers, and a lot of the people who ask questions tend to become customers over time.
So here's a question for you. Are you, because we're both the dancing monkeys at our respective companies, are you mainly doing the webinars, or are you having a team? Yeah, there you go.
Team does majority of the talking. I don't.
Yeah. So you show your face in the beginning.
No, I show my face throughout the webinar and I have different slides. So if we have 100 slides, which we really don't, but let's say if we have 60 slides and there's 3 speakers, we may divvy it up 20, 20, 20, but we'll do it random. It's not like I'll take the first 20, then someone takes the next 20. It may be split where I do the first 5, someone does the next 5, and the next person. It's not always even numbers like that, but you get the point.
Got it. So that's like a collaboration. I have to assume, because I've seen how you do your slides now, that you're collaborating with your marketing team. They might have ideas sometimes and you'd be like, sounds good, or I'm not willing to do it. It's that type of deal.
No, webinars, I see the slide the morning of the webinar.
Okay, there you go. So it's what they want to do and you're in.
Yeah, but I already know the content like the back of my hand. So it's not like it's going to throw me off guard. I know all the content. Just I am able to just talk on it.
Cool. So hopefully this gives everyone some perspective here on how we're both doing it. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to this pod. It helps us grow.